Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is day 11 and the prompt is eagle. I think this one is my favourite one so far. I really hope you like this one. This one honestly is the first one that actually looks like it's come from Inktober. The others are just kind of pieces that I've created, but this one definitely, I feel like if you saw it on Instagram or something, you would know it's from Inktober. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. So to begin with, obviously I started drawing an eagle. It was the obvious place to start, and I thought about combining like an eagle with a person, and that was too similar to gargoyle, so I wanted to actually do something with a real eagle in. I think I couldn't really come up with too many ideas, so I had the idea of the claws holding something that I've kind of done before, so I decided on a skull. I feel like I've done lots of skulls, but it's probably only about 4, but I was quite comfortable with sort of figuring out the shape of it because I've done it a few times. The bit that I did struggle with was, you can kind of see, it's where the claw would be holding it. I think the eagle would be holding it with its claw in like an eye socket. That was kind of the idea, that I think an eagle would hold it that way, but I genuinely don't know. So I tried to get the way that the claw would kind of bend around. I tried to do that accurately, but obviously without an eagle in front of me holding a skull, I just had to use my imagination. So I tried my best to get the proportions correct, but I do think the skull possibly would be facing a slightly different way, and the claw, the foot of the eagle, might not be in the position that I drew it in. But you know, I had to kind of work with it. I tried to get the entire eagle in, and again, composition is something that I'm really working on. But yeah, for this one, as I said, I just got my India ink out already, and I did a few different varieties. I tend to do diluted and less diluted varieties. I also lit a candle, and this was like really nice. I really liked it. It was a really nice, fun vibe. I really enjoyed this one. So I went in with my dip pen and I just quickly did the kind of outline. I wanted to get the key outlines down. I find that when I get the black outline down and let it dry and then rub out the pencil, I just find that a lot easier to work with. It's like I can see exactly where needs to be filled in and where doesn't, and I just find that so much easier. I tend not to like pieces where I have like a really rough pencil sketch and I have to kind of work with that and do layers and then try and make sure the pencil is hidden and it looks good, and I just really struggle with that, so I do like a thick outline. After that, I again just rubbed out the pencil, and then I went in with some lighter washes, and I wanted the skull to be quite light. I don't know if I really achieved that too much, but I'm really quite happy with how it turned out. I didn't really make any big mistakes, so I'm happy with that in that sense. I knew the teeth needed to be quite light, and I wanted the skull to be kind of light, and I knew roughly where needed to be darker. So for me, it means that I was able to do it quite quickly, which I do also really like. As far as the wings on the eagle go, I struggled with this quite a lot. I think the pen sketch wasn't very accurate. The feathers weren't done like individual feathers. I don't have any experience with birds. I've done a parrot, but it's just the macaw's head. I've not really done wings at all. So I did really struggle with this one. I chose to do the closest wing first because I knew that one would be lighter, and I wanted to make sure that one fully dried before I did the back one because I didn't want any kind of bleed through. I thought that would kind of ruin it. So yeah, after that dried, I just went in and darkened the bits on the skull that needed to be darker. As I said, I didn't put too much thought into it really, and then I did the back wing, which again, I think the wings, they don't look accurate, they don't look great. I think the feathers just weren't like individual feathers. I really don't do birds, so it was hard to kind of do something spontaneous like this in a pretty new medium and hope it goes well. But regardless, I think it went pretty well considering. You know, all things considered, I'm really quite happy with how it turned out, this one. I tried to add some more detail to the actual eagle, but it was quite difficult, really. I also think, I don't want to point it out now because if you haven't seen it, you'll probably end up seeing it now, but I think the distance between the foot and the head is too close. I think the neck should probably be a little bit bigger and the head should go down a little bit lower. But I mean, I also thought that the body should be longer, and then I looked at a reference photo and it's actually quite a small body. So I'm not sure if any of that is kind of true whatsoever. I know that the wings are supposed to be huge. I'm quite happy with the beak as well. I try to keep it like, I didn't want to make it dark, but I am quite happy with it. I think the shape is really quite accurate. As far as this girl goes, I didn't really do too much. I did a little bit of dry brushing and adding some kind of texture to it, but I kept it quite simple really. I didn't really look at reference photos, but I did quite like how it turned out. I think because it was ink and it was the right colour, I think it just kind of worked without needing to put too much effort in. I didn't really do much to the eye either. I really tried to keep as many highlights as I could because I know that's something that I have been really struggling with. I think this piece worked so well being black though. I think if it was colour it wouldn't have worked anywhere near as well. And speaking of that, I then decided to make the background black. I don't know exactly where this came from. I think it was probably from spending like a lot of time last year looking at other people's Inktober stuff, and I just kind of thought to leave a white gap around the edge and add a load of black. And I really wasn't sure about how thick this should be, whether it should cover the entire background or not. And I'm still not sure looking at it whether I should have done the black area bigger. I did it as a kind of, I don't know, just like 1 inch around it. And I'm still not debating like whether I should have done the entire page, but I do quite like how this turned out. I think I really like the idea of it being like the white line around the bird. The main reason that I hadn't done it so far was because I found with the Chinese calligraphy brush, it was kind of splashing everywhere. I don't know if that was me, but because it's a synthetic brush and I wasn't really used to it, I just found like it was splashing a lot of ink everywhere. So me having a white background like this was just kind of often not doable because the white would have random splashes of ink. And, you know, there were still some splashes here. I think it's just controlling the Chinese calligraphy brush, to be honest, because a lot of the other brushes that I use don't do that. But also ink is very, I want to say watery, it's very liquidy, you know. Paint has a little bit more substance to it, but because ink is liquid to begin with, it's very liquidy, so I do think its splashing could have just been a part of it being ink as well. I really love the contrast between the white that's around the actual prompt and then the black background. I really love that, and I think the much more opaque form of using ink, I just love how this one's turned out, and I definitely want to include this in my future ones. I think up until this point I've done quite a lot of grey. I've used the ink in a very light wash kind of way and lost a lot of the white highlights, so it's very grey, light grey, dark grey. I really like the darkness of this one. I want to get actually more black in the Inktober ones that I'm doing and try and have more white in there as well. Try and keep those highlights because otherwise I just end up with loads of grey, I feel. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, I absolutely love how this one's turned out. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on it, and I'd love if you could subscribe so that you don't miss the rest of Inktober. I will see you tomorrow for day 12. Bye!